nothing. So I'm very happy that it rained and you had to quit farming and gardening and you had to come. So welcome, and we're very happy to have you here. And I want to start off by thanking the people who made this possible. The Jefferson County Extension hosted this for us, so we really appreciate it. I want to also thank Robert Karp, the Director of Practical Farmers of Iowa. If he hadn't taken this on in our state, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So I really am indebted for him for taking this on for our state. Brenda Narducci at Chapel Studios, I sent her a letter like this, and she came up with this. Her and Jesse Polico and Sheila Perry. So I really want to thank them for going the extra mile for a press release, literally, that we had. How many of you got this in the mail? So this went out to 197 direct market farmers, so we really appreciate their help on this. I also want to appreciate everybody's and Radiance Dairy and Iowa Progressive Assets Management. So far there are 3 major sponsors. I also want to appreciate Sustainable Living Coalition. In the state, we're under the umbrella of Practical Farmers of Iowa. In Fairfield, so far we're under the umbrella of Sustainable Living Coalition. So I appreciate them taking this on with me, and also I appreciate all of them coming today. We have several of the members and the board members that came to put this all together today, so thank you guys. I also want to thank Myrna Layden. She was my first person to donate to the campaign. One of our fundraising committee was just talking about it, and without asking anything, she gave her a check. So that's inspiring. That's what keeps you going when somebody, without even asking them, says, this is something I want to see happen, and she supported it. I want to thank the fundraising committee that is a fabulous guidance for me. Susan Booth, who is here today. Where are you, Susan? She's back there. And Ron Blair, who couldn't be here. Ron Blair is the person here in Fairfield that is responsible for our trails system, that a lot of people now come to Fairfield and surrounding Fairfield to ride and walk on our trail system. And also Lee Gobble. Are you here, Lee? He's coming. And also Brenda Narducci again, one of the owners of Chapel Studio, whose passion is local food and local economy. So these people are the people that I'm meeting with and who are guiding me through to raising the funds to make this happen for all of you. I also want to thank all the people who brought the food. Has anybody gotten any food back there? It's all local, it's all homemade. Susan and Francis from the Radiance Dairy donated the cheese. Lois from Batavia Gardens brought the plate of peppers. Diana Runyon made the cake. Julie at Revelations made the focaccia bread, the little breads. And also everybody's sent the little pecan tarts, which are made with local pecans. And also Marie, thanks for all the drinks. And then the last thanks I'd like to do before we move on is for our door prizes. I again want to thank Susan and Francis for the basket of goodies from their dairy. And Lois, thanks for running back home and getting your door prizes. And Diana Fern, thanks for the gourd. And Joy James sent a handmade pot with herbs in it. And Margie from KISS, KRKN from Atumwa also brought a CD. And we have a few other things that we're going to give away and do some door prizes. Now, before we move on, I want to find out where you've all found out about this meeting, just so we learn in the future. How many people read about it in the newspaper? Raise your hand really high so we can count you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. How many heard about it on the radio? Anybody hear about it on the radio? 1, 2, 3. Okay. How many got the mailing? Way up? So about 5, 10. Okay. Any other way that anybody found out about it? Word of mouth?
The MUM from Culture website.
Oh yes. So through the web. Anybody else? Website?
You came to the rally?
Yes. How many here are direct market farmers? Hands way up high. Okay.
Mary, you got to add your signs on your vehicles too, about how you find out about it.
Oh, how many saw the signs on the vehicle? But I didn't have the time and the date. How many here are from restaurants or are a chef? Okay, oh yeah. And how many here are from a meat locker or a grocery store? Okay, where are you from? Oh, good, I talked to you. Thanks for coming. Well, now I would like to introduce Kamyar Enshayan. And first I want to tell you a little bit about him. I've been the promoter for the farmers market the last couple of years, and when I started that job, I wanted to find out more about local food, because that is why I was promoting the farmers market, is because I want to see the family farmer prosper, and I also want to see a lot more local food available. And I found out about Kamyar's project. I went on the website just under local food. And Kamyar's also written his website down there. And I read about this and I was completely inspired. It tells about where he started and how he did it. He's been doing it since 1998 and how it has grown, which he's going to tell you about. But I was totally inspired by this, so I called Practical Farmers of Iowa, which I found out that this was under or along with. And they said, well, we're thinking about moving this, expanding this to the entire state. And I said, well, if you decide to do it, please call me, because I'd love to see this happen in this part of Iowa. So Kamyar was so successful that now he's on their city council. And without much further ado, I want to introduce Kamyar. He's my inspiration.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm wearing the microphone.
You turn it on, Kamyar, right there.
Great honor to be here. Okay, I think you took a piece of paper, the bottom piece of paper here, that I had some notes on. Oh, there you go. All right. I wanted to thank Mary. We were doing this by local campaign in Black Hawk County, but if other regions, people wouldn't come forward to say, yeah, we want to do this in our area, then we wouldn't be here. So it's really thanks to Mary and all of you who are doing this, and it's always wonderful to be here in Francis Thickey's country. I've known Francis for a long time, and I'm just delighted to be here and just the work he and his family has been doing. I want to say I was so disappointed. The sign said "Buy local, buy fresh." It didn't say "Buy fresh, buy local" on the road. I'm kidding. All right. I want to share with you basically what we've been able to do in one metro area by linking consumers, farmers, all the players in the food system together. Doing this kind of work, as farmers, as organizers, sometimes we forget why we're doing this. Particularly when I talk to city council or economic development people, it appears that we're just saying, well, we're just substituting this tomato with a local tomato. So it really is important to see why we're doing this. We're trying to solve a big problem, the way our agriculture is not working, where most of the food dollars that we spend at the grocery store does not end up at the farm level, where a few companies control our food system, where the land isn't well treated, when the animals aren't well treated. That's why we're doing this. Okay, so it's not just for me to go to our university dining services and say, well, let's buy your tomatoes or your green peppers from this guy versus that guy. It really is about reshaping our food system in a different way. The kind of food system we have has an unspoken slogan. And that slogan is, just eat it. Just eat it. Don't ask any questions about where it came from, how the soil was treated, how the water was treated, what did it do to the landscape. Did the farm family make a living? How were the animals treated? Where did the feed come from? How about the labor? Was the labor treated fairly? How about the seed? Was it irradiated or not? Don't ask any of that. Just eat it. Okay? That's kind of the way things are. What a lot of us want to do is the opposite of that. We want to ask, where did this food come from? Am I supporting a family? Are they making a living? Are they treating their animals well? Are they treating the land well? This is what this is all about. It's about reconnecting. I keep thinking in our metro area, or really any community, our food dollars, our food economy is completely disconnected from the land that surrounds us. It doesn't just right now just go to the grocery store. Grocery stores are packed full of food all the time, and none of them are from around here, usually. I mean, except in this area, obviously, you guys have local dairy and everything, but in a lot of places, that's not the case. So we've developed a couple of different slogans that would counter the just eat it slogan. One is, get yourself a farmer. You know, just get yourself a farmer. That's what we need to do, really, to reconnect. The other one is, you know your doctor, you know your dentist, do you know your farmer? Right? But really, that's what this work is all about. Okay, so that was kind of my little editorial introduction to what we're doing and what I'm about to share with you. Okay. All right. So this is all right. Let's see. This is the area where I work. I live in Blackhawk County in Cedar Falls. These are the counties where we're trying to kind of bring farmers. So it's basically the blue area, the Blackhawk County, which is Cedar Falls, Waterloo, is the center of population. Okay, that's where we're intensely focusing our consumer campaign. We're trying to get people, everybody, to say buy locally grown and helping them connect to the farmers around them. In this, and we just picked those boundaries just for convenience purposes. Really, no rhyme or reason. The dots that you see are all locations of farmers markets. Okay, now for these very counties, for these 8 counties, we looked up how much we spend on local food, on food. This is my county, $268 million a year on groceries every year, just in our county, another $150 million in eating out. This is just Blackhawk County. If you look at the other 7 counties, you'll see a total of $460 million every year. Another $202 million every year we spend on food. Now, imagine, now most of the, let's come back to my county, Blackhawk County. Most of these dollars are leaving Blackhawk County because, again, our economy is not connected to the land. Yes?
Is the money spent for food service and training establishments, is that the money spent by the consumers in the food service establishments? Or is that the money spent by the food service?
No, it's in your, okay, that's a very good question. This is the sales. Okay. These are sales. Right. So it's money spent by consumers.
Right, so if I go to her place for dinner and spend $25.
Exactly, that's included. So when our university buys $3 million worth of food, it's part of this. Now this includes drinking establishment too. So there's a lot of drinking in here. And there's a lot of pop in here. And frozen pizza. So the question becomes, well, first of all, most of these are leaving. And then the question becomes, how much of this could we reasonably capture if everybody bought local food and we're all really committed to this? How much of this $268 million could we capture? I don't know. I don't know how much we could capture. But in 2003, I kept track of all of our food expenditure in our household, okay? Just to see, as a family who does deliberate, we've committed to buying as much local food as we could. So we listed all of our farmers market trips. If we bought eggs from people we knew, meat from farmers we knew, all of them, we added all of them up. It came to 13% of our total food expenditure. Okay? All right. Now this is, again, without any additional, just the way things are right now. Okay? The way things are, nothing different. So I said, what about 10%? Let's just go by, round it up to 10%. What if the residents of our county committed to 10% of their food dollars on local farms? That would become, if you add these two up, it's roughly $420 million. So that would become roughly $40 million every year that's invested locally. That beats casinos and all these fake economic development freebies that the counties and cities are giving. And it's the money that stays here and it's invested in the lives of businesses, food and farm businesses around us. So it's not insignificant. People think of local food and economy, they think, oh, farmers markets, you just go and buy a few things, what's the big deal? It's not going to add up to anything. Well, it can, right? Look at this. This is serious stuff. And I'll show you what we've been able to do by actually approaching a few of these guys, the food service establishments and restaurants and grocers, and saying, look, we'll hook you up to some of the farms, and you try to buy local if you can, and we added up how much they spent. Okay, so I'll come back to that one later. But the question is that this food dollars and investing it in local economy is significant, is not insignificant. If again, 10% of this, $40 million, which enterprise in our community could guarantee that, could say, hey, we'll make $40 million stay here, right? We haven't done that. We haven't made that commitment to do that. So, all right. So so remember that number. That's pretty. And then you look at our local. I sent one of my students. I work at the University of Northern Iowa. I sent one of my students to a farmers market in September a few years ago, and said, just go on a piece of paper, just write down everything that you see that's sold at the market. Okay. And the list is impressive. It's just impressive. You couldn't, and it goes on. There's some in the bottom you can't read here. It just goes on, all kinds of varieties, all kinds of stuff. Meanwhile, at the same time, if you go to your local grocery store, there's nothing local. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Why? Why does it have to be that way? Grocers could be marketing local products from local farms. Right? That's very doable. What about restaurants? They could be buying this stuff. It's there. It's not, people think, oh, well, the production isn't there. The production is there. I'll show you. I'll show you how it's done. So what we did was we went to in 97, we approached 3 institutional buyers. A restaurant, our own dining service at UNI, and then a local hospital. And we said, what if we made it easier for you to buy from local farms? Would you do that? They said, well, we'll give it a try. So then what we did, we started a weekly, to make their job easier, we said every week we'll email you or fax you what we called an produce availability sheet. Okay, so I'll just, where we had farmer's name, phone number, their crop, and the prices the farmers asked for. And with several farmers who ahead of time, we had announced to all the farmers, said, look, you guys have the volume. Are you interested in delivering to some of these guys, restaurants, institutions? And those farmers were the people who we would call every week, say Sunday evening, we would call them and saying, what's coming up next week? And what can we tell them? So that then then the food buyers, all they had to do was just pick up the phone, call, place order, and the food will be delivered on designated days, right? Making it easier for these people to do that. Okay. Well, here, 8 years later, 7 years later, I'm happy to report this to you. And I don't think there's any healthcare facility in the country that has accomplished this. But this is Bartels Retirement Home in Waverly, Iowa. All right. So these are all these categories of things they bought locally, okay? They bought local meat raised in Bremer County, no antibiotics, no animal ground up in their feed, okay? So again, the buyer knows where their meat came from, okay? And so it's guaranteed, raised in Bremer County, processed in Bremer County, okay? So look at this. They've been buying from the farmer they knew. They bought dairy we have a dairy just like Radiance Dairy, they started last year. Not just like them, but close enough. And then vegetables, baked goods. So all of a sudden, here's an institution that 3 years ago bought nothing locally, nothing, zero. A few years later, $42,000 a year, all from people like yourselves, right? Again, money that's invested locally, they're getting highest quality produce, highest quality product, and their clients love it. I mean, what a place to retire to. This is retirement community in Waverly.
The residents of that facility know that they promote that for the residents?
I'll come to that. Yeah, that's as part of our work is we help these facilities to market themselves to their clients. I mean, that's really what the Buy Fresh, Buy Local campaign is all about. It's a consumer campaign. We weren't doing this until recently. In other words, we were working with these institutions kind of behind the scene and occasionally we did some kind of we weren't good at it, in terms of letting the clients know. Well, 3 years ago, a bunch of us got together, applied for this Buy Local. We got some training with media and to really go after everybody, not just institutional buyers in our community. So yeah, I'll show you examples of what we've done to kind of reach people and let them know. Okay, another example, which is a local restaurant, which is really the king of local food, probably in the whole country. It beats some of the high-end restaurants in the West Coast and East Coast. It's Rudy's, the lowly diner in town. Rudy's Tacos with a smoking section in the back. Though April 1st, they stopped. There's no smoking now allowed. But in fact, more people are going there now. So here, let's look at this. Here's a tiny restaurant. No, it's not a high-end restaurant. It's just as ordinary place as you could go. Beef, pork, chicken, cheese, tomatoes, all 100% local. 100% local. Onions, flour, sour cream, 100% local. You can see. Then miscellaneous, there's a bunch of stuff that they get that. So this is a total food that doesn't come from local sources. So here's again, a small restaurant, 71% of what they bought came from local sources. This is just impressive. Again, he didn't have to do any of this, right? He could have just picked up the phone and just called the distributors and just like anybody else. But he's seeing amazing results from his customers, quality of food. I mean, people just love that. So for the promotion for his store, we have little table tents like this. It says, Rudy's invests in local family farms. And it says where it came from. You see? Or, let me show you another one. Okay, but the one that we're going to do this year, I'm going to make a big poster. Let me see, what did I do with the... There's going to be a big poster just like that. Just put it up there. And I joked with him that we're going to make a T-shirt which says 71%, local. Okay, so there is, you saw it's possible, people are doing it. These are not organic institutions. This is a regular retirement home, regular diner, buying from local farmers. Some of them happen to be organic, okay? But a lot of them, yeah, question.
What's the dollar figure for the 71%?
Okay, yeah, what was the dollar figure? So the total food budget of the restaurant was $234,000 he spent, and $166,000 was local. Again, working at the city, all these companies come to town and they all want freebies. And the city councils usually fall over backwards and give all these freebies, because they just say jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, and then later nobody goes and tracks back to say, well, how many jobs did they really create? What kind of jobs, etc. But we never think of food and farms as businesses that are actually creating jobs and are feeding us, right? So this attempt to increase our local food purchases is an attempt to prevent a leak of financial capital from our communities. It's just very simple. Everybody understands that. So, all right. We recently did an interesting study where we worked with several institutions who were buying whole animals. So this retirement community, instead of just calling up a distributor and buying beef by cuts, they went to a farmer and just said, we'll buy your whole cow, and was processed at the local locker, and then they got the cuts in their freezer. So the question was, well, could other places do that, and would they save money? So here it is. This is obviously price per cut. These are all these different cuts. Price per cut for local source was all the same, because obviously you just pay for the whole cow and it's just all the same. Doesn't matter what cut. But if you had bought the same cow but in separate cuts through conventional sources, you would end up paying about $200 more, but not really knowing where the cows came from and what they were fed and how they were treated and whether the farmer made any money. But this way, she knows all the answer to all of those questions. Exactly. Right? So this is a very interesting, and we just finished a report. I gave a copy to Mary, and I have other copies if people want that. We have other, we did a lot of, here's what we learned, actually. The conclusion of our study, this is just for institutional purchases, places like our university that's buying 1 cow and 2 cows and 2 hogs every month now. Okay, and Bartels buys 1 cow and 1 hog every month. Okay, so these are what we learned, that hey, people think, oh, it's going to be very expensive, we can't afford this. Well, it turned out that it was cheaper actually to buy local, and local farmers made more money. Again, you can see Bartels bought beef that was antibiotic-free, no animal products in the feed. You and I bought organically raised free-range chickens. And again, Rudy's buys organic chicken. Flexibility was an interesting thing. As business owner, once they get to know the farmers, all kinds of business arrangements will develop. You say, well, I want this, what about this, what about that? And things will just say, oh yeah, I can raise that, no problem. So there's a lot of that. And of course, one thing that all of these food buyers, all kinds, have said, it was just that they had excellent response from their customers, that they felt like they're contributing to the community. This retirement home most of the residents grew up in the area, they know them, they have farm connections, and it just made sense for them to do this. And so they can kind of publicize that. All right. I want to now, yes?
The $1,400 you paid for the animal, how much went to the farmer and how much went to the...
You know, it's an excellent question. Okay, see, I have the answer. I didn't want to bore you with the details. Okay. So this is, if they bought it from conventional sources, this would be, it's really hard to explain this. If the conventional source, if the local farmer sold his cow to just the wholesale market, this is what, and then if Bartels bought that cow kind of through the conventional sources, this would be the breakdown. This much would go to the non-local processor. This much would go to the farmer. But in the bottom case, is this much goes to the farmer and this goes to the local processor. So a triple win, right? For Bartels too, right? Yes.
I have heard that money that is spent locally has an exponential effect in the community. So if you can spend $1
Yeah.
locally.
Yeah, there are multiplier effects. Yeah.
Is it like $5?
I think it differs from item by item, but I've heard anywhere from 5 to 6 times for food. But I'm not an economist, I don't know for sure. But we're beginning to actually do a detailed study of as many as would be open to, I mean, it's a very confidential study because we're those who are going to open up their books because we want to say, all right, how many W2, in other words, how many employees did you have? What was your total sales? We want to show that local food creates jobs. Well, we don't want to show anything. We want to find out how many jobs are created, right? Okay, so yeah, does that answer your question? All right, now I want to kind of switch gears to talk about details of this consumer campaign, okay? And I want to start with, so the idea is, well, how do we, we're working with institutions, but how do we go after everybody? How do we kind of really do the kind of things that you're about to do in here? I'm going to move this back a little bit. Whoops. This is my multimedia presentation. Okay. Oh, can we, by the way, turn one of these lights off? Here we go. Thank you. All right. Let's see. I have a lot of little thing to work out here. All right. I'm going to show you a few things here. Let's see. All right. One part of this campaign is to reach consumers, obviously. You know, we all have been saying, well, it's not enough just for farmers to talk to each other, or, you know, we just need, there's a lot of people out there. Those are the people who are going to the grocery stores and buying food. How do we encourage them to buy local food? How do we make those places where local food is available more visible, right? So that's the idea. So, you know, this block of city in Cedar Falls is on Saturday mornings where farmers market happens, okay? But like a lot of other farmers markets, the locations of farmers market are kept secret. You know, it's like, let's not tell anybody, okay? And let's just meet there. And then every few years, let's just change the location, go somewhere else. So I approached our city several years ago. I said, look, can't we put a sign on First Street? You know, like 2 blocks from this location is a major street with lots of traffic. I said, well, why can't we put a sign there, seasonal sign, which says farmer's market, just like we have a sign which says library, you know, farmer's market. Well, he said, we can't do that. I said, well, why not? Well, that's DOT. DOT does that. That's a, you know, Highway 57. That's DOT. We can't do that. Well, all right, okay, DOT is complicated, you know, they said no, absolutely no this, even though highways are littered with signs, but absolutely no way, we can't do that. All right, so I went to our city again, I said, well, can't we put a sign where the farmer's market, that's our own city street, that's public right away, our own city, can't we do that? Said, it's really hard, but I don't think we'll recommend, well, you can fill out the paperwork and go and do that, but most likely we won't recommend to the council. The council has to decide, and we won't recommend that. So anyway, I said, well, I want to fill out the paperwork. I filled out the paperwork. It turned out they actually recommended, the staff recommended to the council, yes, approval. And so they approved, and so I went and made these nice signs. But it took several months. But these are permanent signs that are there. You know, winter, all year round. So here it is. So, but now that I'm on the city council, I can put signs wherever I want. So we're putting up signs everywhere. This is downtown Waterloo Farmers Market. You know, again, a permanent sign. It's there year round. So again, one idea is to make it easier for people to find local food. How do we do that? Well, farmers markets are just one of those channels, right? Then there are, let me show you another, let me see, I think the last one. There we go. Then most people really don't go to farmers markets. Yeah, a few of us diehards go to farmers markets, and I like to see a lot more people at the farmers market, and I think we can draw a lot more people to the farmers market, but still, some of the time, farmers markets aren't in session. Obviously, they're just 1 or 2 days a week. People just go to the grocery store. But once they're at the store, how can we help them find local food? Well, that's an example where this was in California. We were learning. We went to several other places. So these are the banners, kind of like that. So what we did was we made big banners like that, which said, we sell locally grown products in the store, and we gave them to all the grocery stores we're working with in Black Hawk and neighboring counties. So that's kind of another example. Let's see, let me turn this off. I'm done with this. Okay, now maybe we can turn the lights on because I want to show a few things here. Okay, so let me show you examples of other publicity things. Okay, first of all, at Rudy's, for example. Yes?
When you have the campaign in the grocery store,
Yes.
do you also work with them to label the stuff that isn't local so people know it comes from Argentina or it comes from...
We don't have the time and staff to do other things, and we just have to be very focused. We have a hard time enough getting them to put the signs up for local things, you know. Okay, for Rudy's, we made a big poster, like a 4x6 poster. This is just a small version of this. It says, "Meet Rudy's Farmers." And it has all the pictures of all the farmers Rudy's buys from, right? Why not? So help the institutions and grocers and others who are buying local, highlight them, saying, great, this is great, right? So give them, you know, the Rudy's owner doesn't have time to make a poster. He doesn't have the graphic skills to do that. We've hired a graphic designer saying, hey, do this, here's the pictures. And they whip up a poster like that. Just like Mary said, you know, one of your collaborators who made those. All right, others we just made is a door thing for grocery stores. On one side, it says, we sell locally grown products. It's just something you put on the door. On the back, it says, we support local family farms. Just something. And we have another one just on it says the same thing on both sides. It says, we support local family farms like restaurant owners could put on their doors. Okay. We ran a bunch of ads in the paper, full color ads. This says, the location of all farmers market in Black Hawk County. Except the ads weren't this big. Unfortunately, they were much smaller because an ad about about half this would run for like $300 for one run, okay, one day. But still, we figured it was worth it. We wanted to really reach everybody, not just the same old kind of the choir, you know. Okay, says fresh and local at a store near you. You know, list of grocery stores who had committed to buy local food. So this, you know, we ran a bunch of ads. This is eggs and poultry. People who had chickens and eggs near us. we ran an ad just to show people, hey, you know. Then we helped farmers. A bunch of point of sales materials for grocers could use these. Farmers could use them as price cards. These, I mean, mostly farmers. I mean, most farmers markets are all local anyway, unless you market at a market where people are bringing things from outside, like from Georgia, which shouldn't be allowed anyway. But some farmers markets allow that, like Des Moines farmers markets allows that. So farmers wanted to distinguish themselves, but really. We need to go, I mean, we're trying to reach other market channels besides farmers markets, because farmers markets are already known, I mean, though we need to work on making them better known. Though the grocers, we want to, if a grocer is selling local food, we want to make sure they get credit for it, but by using these cards, we also have these little stickers that farmers could put on a dozen eggs or whatever bag of sweet corn. I have one more thing to show you and then I'll quit. Okay, this is an interesting kind of a summary. You might say, well, so what? After all this, all these years. Okay. There we go. Is this good enough here? There we go. Okay, so we're back. So after several years of work, here's what kind of, again, back to the actual financial numbers. We started in 97. In the growing season of 98, 3 food buyers, 1 restaurant, 1 college, 1 hospital, spent this much on local food. And as the years went by, we tried to recruit more and more until, so in 2002, was when we started training and learning about the Buy Local campaign, and we did our campaign in 2003, and of course we're continuing to do that. We did it last year too. So as you can see, because of the kind of buzz that we generated in the community, we doubled the sale of local food from 2003 to 2004. That's really just 23 buyers, and not all of them were really fully committed. I mean, there were different levels of commitment, but we can't twist people's arms. I mean, we just say, hey, you know, we'll help you. So they bought, last year they bought about 500,000 local food. A lot more work to be done, but I guess one of my kind of concluding remarks is it takes time, okay? It takes time to build this web of local relationships. And I would say the most important accomplishment that we've done in our community is facilitating this local connection between restaurant owners, meat locker owners, grocers, farmers, consumers, kind of being there as a facilitator of that. Okay, that's what we really, I think that's what we've done, and we need more of that. And it takes somebody's time to do that. It's a job. It won't happen by itself. It requires, you know, a lot of you who are here volunteering, and Mary and others. And in our community is me and a few of my students, and that's it. It's a lot of low budget sort of work. Ultimately, I'd like to see cities and counties commit to this. It's a job. I mean, we have economic development staff. Cities have economic development staff, but none of them are dealing with food. Everybody has forsaken agriculture as an engine of economic development, but it is. It ought to be. And we've shown that it can be, right? So it would be ideal if, say, several counties and cities pitched in together. If every one of them pitched in a few $1,000s, you would have $40,000 to have a part-time staff and a budget to really do a bunch of these stuff constantly, because Unfortunately, I spend a lot of my time fundraising because we don't have any money. I don't have a salary from the university. I have to raise money just like Mary is raising money. I mean, I have an office, that's it. Okay, but that's often the case in the nonprofit type work. We're spending so much time raising money to do a little bit of work and a lot of volunteer time. But if the position was there, just like a city has a city planner, fire chief, police chief, they're not raising money, they're just doing their work, right? That's what we need in order to really make these sorts of things happen. So I'll end. Yes?
I have a question. Aren't there grants out there that would fund this program?
Yeah.
As a startup?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you have to take a lot of time writing grants. And then the grant run, I mean, that's what we have been doing. All of this work has been done by raising money the old-fashioned way, by begging and by grants.
Do you get your logo out there statewide, or do you have a logo that you provide to anybody, like chambers, cities, where it's on their front pages?
Well, we are working with communities who commit to do the campaign. So people within Fairfield have committed to do the campaign. We said, here is all the logo, you guys run with it. So, but we're not just giving it to anybody.
Right.
So I'm right now working with 5 or 6 other communities, and we're helping them jumpstart their campaign. So.
What's the gross at your farmers market, do you know?
What's that?
What's the gross for the year at the farmers market?
We haven't asked that because we didn't want to ask farmers those things, so we don't know. But on a particular day in the summer, I asked all the vendors to be able to tell me for that day what their sales was, and we counted all the people who came to the market. 1,200 people on a typical Saturday in July. 1,200 people came to the farmers market, spent $8,000 in 3 hours. And I showed that number to our downtown people and said, well, which one of your businesses in downtown brings in this many people to downtown? You know? So farmers markets are under-marketed, underappreciated, and, yeah.
I just have I went to Seattle about a month ago and went to a couple of parks in the smaller communities, and those parks, city park signs said, whatever the park's name was, home of something farmers market. So
Great.
it was right on
Great.
the actual city sign, so I was amazed. I mean, every little park we went to that
Right.
was a farmers market.
Great.
Like that.
Great. Yeah, you had some, yeah.
2 questions. One, what kind of budget are you working with?
And number 2, I understand that the city council has contributed to your project on a yearly basis.
Yes.
And I would like for you to explain how you convinced the city council that it was appropriate to do so, to give taxpayer money towards the project.
Yeah, great. I went to the County Board of Supervisors and made the case that this was real economic development. That these are the dollars. So here's an interesting thing we did. Here's the argument I made. Besides saying, look, these are independent businesses, this $5,000 you guys are going to give to us isn't going to go anywhere. It's just staying right here, making more dollars stay. Okay. I added up all of these dollars, okay, the food dollars that we actually retained, right? And I added all of the grant dollars that we received to do this work. The ratio was 1 to 7. In other words, for every dollar we received, we made $7 stay in food dollars. That's huge compared to anything else the cities have done. You know, I mean, the city, you know, Walmart and Target come to town, and the city say, okay, here's the money. You know, we'll build a road for you. You know, we'll do this, we'll do that. Well, this is the money. So I made an economic argument, and I think that's the best argument to make at this point in time, to say this is community economic development in its best, at its best. So our Board of Supervisors reluctantly approved then. gave us $5,000. Then they didn't in the subsequent year. But our city, every year, this is the third year, every year they contributed $5,000 to print the directory that I forgot to mention. That's another thing. We produced a directory that never existed, and there's copies there. Some people have them in their hand. And it listed the growers. There's copies back there. Vegetable growers, farmers markets, meat producers, flour, herbs, apples, asparagus, strawberries, everything you want, but very beautifully and nicely. And then we distributed it through local papers, and we had piles of them in every business in town and in the library and stuff. So I kind of back to your question. So the city's money went towards, I asked for a very specific thing. I didn't say, just give us money. I said, look, we want to print this directory to make it easier for the citizens of our community to find local food. And they've been supportive. It makes sense. It's a very popular project. It has received a lot of press. And
What's your budget been the last?
last year we raised $25,000. That covered everything. So that means printing, my students, me, everybody. But that's not, again, and of course a lot of volunteer hours. Ideally, I would say you need $40,000 to $50,000 to run a Cadillac version of the campaign. To have a lot of ads, a lot of visibility, make radio announcement, newspapers, just be there, help the grocers and the businesses that are doing local food, to help them highlight, all the things we talked about. It really takes time to go and do all this stuff. So that's the kind of budget. And again, I think it's really doable. $40,000, $50,000 a year. I mean, again, the cities are just giving away all kinds of money. That $40,000, $50,000 is like nothing, a drop in a bucket. Yeah.
Does any of the money come from the growers, the farmers themselves?
Okay, of the 25,000, let's say last year, yes, it does. What we've done is we've encouraged the farmers to, quote, join the campaign. Okay, so people, and this year we didn't make it a requirement. We just said, look, we've been doing good work. Please contribute, and we sent them a little letter with several places to mark, anywhere from $10 to $30. Just contribute. You'll be in the directory. You can buy price cards, stickers, all the promotionals, and then businesses like grocers and restaurants, they each paid $50 to join the campaign. And then they're the ones who receive the faxes. Again, these are really nominal. They don't really pay for the program, but it gives them, something to be part of. So yes, they do, but it's very insignificant. So.
When are we going to be able to get the materials for our area? Are they available now?
Yeah, go ahead. You're welcome. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
So before we move on, I want to know who is the person in our audience today. Ernie, how old are you?
Well, a couple, 3 months, I'll be 81.
81. Anybody older than 81? If you are, stand up. Are you older than 81? 88. 88. Anybody older than 88? So I'd like the oldest person to come up and take something from this table. So since you're the oldest, you get to pick something off the table. Now, if your name hasn't been put in the bucket, where's the bucket? And Marie, will you make sure everybody has their name in the bucket? Yes, so Kamyar's going to answer.
Oh, a bunch of, you asked whether these materials are available locally for you. Working on it, and some of them are available, okay? Go ahead.
So I just want to spend a few minutes telling you what your opportunities are for today. Paul, I wanted to let you know what you can do today. Those of you that are direct market farmers, which most of you are, You have two things you can do today for sure. You can sign up to be in the directory. And back there you'll see a table that says sign up to be in the directory. For the farmers, that doesn't cost you anything. For the restaurant owners, that doesn't cost you anything. For the meat lockers, same thing. And your farmer's market can sign up to be in the directory for free. You can also join the campaign today. And what that means when you join the campaign, it means that I will be marketing you as much as I can, and you can also market yourself with the marketing materials. You'll have the right to use all this wonderful logo materials. You can do many, many things with it. You can make your own banner. It can't be your logo for your farm, but you can use it along with whatever else you use. You can get some of those price cards. You can use all those price cards. Over and over I've read, farmers at the market, you should label everything you have and what it costs. Label your goods. This is a way you can label your goods. People don't like to come to the market and not know how much your food is, whether it's organic. This is an easy way to label your goods in a very clear way. So you have then the right to use all the marketing materials. And that costs you $25 to do that, to join the campaign. And we have Diana Fern. Will you show them where you're going to be? There's a table that says join the campaign. So that's the other thing you can do today. If you don't want to join the campaign and you just want to be in the directory, you can apply to be in the directory. This is a food and plant and flower directory. So you can apply to be in the directory. You can also donate money if you don't want to use the marketing materials, but you want to see this happen. Back there, Grover and Marie and Andrew are at a sponsorship table. So anybody can do this. This is grassroots. This is a local project. So it is up to us to make this happen. So give money if you'd like to see it happen. And then we also have T-shirts and other things for sale back there. Yes?
If we know local farmers who aren't here right now that might want to be in this, how do they go about getting in the directory and whatnot?
We have sent out to all 197. We went through every website. We went to every directory we could find to send and give this opportunity. The letter was sent out. On the back of it, it said if you want to apply to be in the directory. So that has been sent out to, and I have already received several in the mail. So also if you have friends, go ahead and tell them. They can email me or call me, and I'll, find. Oh, actually, they can. Okay.
So just give them your information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they can, if you know people who don't know about this, they can just call Mary and Mary will sign them up.
The other thing you can do is you can sign up to volunteer and help with events. You can sign up if you want to help create a website. You can sign up for help with mailings or any way that if you have something that you're really good at. When we have a Taste of Fairfield, you can sign up to donate food for that or cook for that. So anything that you can do to help this campaign, if you want to volunteer, you can also sign up for that. Did you have a question?
Are you just going to concentrate on Fairfield, this area, or are you on the counties around here?
The marketing campaign is Fairfield. The source campaign is Fairfield and the surrounding 6 counties. But we're focusing on marketing you in Fairfield.
Once have the directories, you can probably take those directories to neighboring towns.
This directory will be in all 7 counties, but I will be mainly marketing in terms of, speaking and doing things, direct marketing right here.
How will you go about to convince the people to participate? Will you go out to other counties and do this, or?
We have sent information out. It's an educational campaign. We will continue to send out educational press release. I believe it's a matter of education, people realizing just what you saw that Kamyar shared with you today. Did you find it convincing that it's worth being involved in? I think it is. And that's why I'm doing it. And so it's an educational. It'll be a continue. I have many, many sources that I've already sent out information to. They've all said they want more and they want it to keep coming. So it's a matter of a lot through the newspaper and the radio. We'll be advertising and educating. Yes, Lucy?
Are you speaking about like events at Farmers Market? That's an event that you would...
Last year we did a Taste of Fairfield at the Farmers Market. We're going to do another Taste of Fairfield.
So the minute you plan that, you will let the CDB know?
Sure.
So we can
You're on my email. We'll have a kickoff, probably in May or early June, some kickoff for the Buy Fresh, Buy Local campaign, and that's really geared towards the consumer, to just get them pumped about committing to spending money locally. Yes, Marie?
How is it possible for us, for example, as a restaurant, if we're interested in a specific item, for example, I looked last year, I wanted to find organic duck. I thought, we're in Iowa, we could find organic duck. But we haven't. How do we do that?
I will have this. I will have a data of all the information. Hopefully you can find it in here. If not, you can talk to me and I will help you find it if possible.
You might not have it, but I mean, it's not that difficult to raise some duck.
Well, now, well, I see that as part of my job is not only creating the market, but developing the market. So I talked to a fella today and I said, you know, we need lots of greens in the winter. And he said, I have a greenhouse. Who do I talk to? So I've already connecting his family with a restaurant that definitely wants to have greens all winter. So I'm a coordinator. I will help those connections.
Do you have a website where someone can go to the website?
I don't have a website yet. Would you, can somebody bring me that board right there? I don't have a website yet. I haven't done that. That's been way down on the list. But here are 2 websites that you can go on if you want to learn more about what's happened. This is,
But he wants to know about
but our Fairfield, we don't have, well, I'm going to have this, and hopefully I'll get a website. But someone will have to do that website for me.
Can you hold that up again? I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry. What I'll do is yeah, I didn't hold it very long. There'll be the directory, and also we'll have a website eventually.
Once the directory, once you guys have, it'll automatically be on Practical Farmers of Iowa's website, so you can look up Fairfield's directory and see everything there on the web. Once they put all the data together. But soon PFI will have a searchable website where you could put in the county and say onions and see all the onion growth. Okay, right now we're not there, but at some point it will be.
That's Practical Farmers of Iowa. This is a really good website. Anybody that wasn't here today, lots of information, and this is Kamyar's project.
All of these, the whole Buy Local campaign is done in collaboration with Practical Farmers of Iowa, which is a non-profit organization. It's a wonderful organization.
Also,
Yes.
that kind of information on local food availability will also be on the Sustainable Living Coalition website.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it sustainableliving.org? Is that right, Andrew? Sustainable Living Coalition. Okay. So can I put this down? Did everybody get off of here what they needed? Okay. Yes, Grover.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention, if you join PFI, you become a member of a list where you can make inquiries about different products also.
That's right.
Thing amongst the farmers of Iowa, this folks asking for all manner of tools and food on their mailbox. So, organization to join.
Can I have the picture? Come here, will you let's do the drawing, and while we're doing that, is there any other questions? Yes.
You got a director with the producers. Is there a director with the consumers, like the restaurant stores?
You mean the buyers?
Yes.
They're listed in the directory too.
The ones.
So you will know who are the restaurants who are interested in buying. But you can always, again, Mary's role is critical, because if you want to find something out, you don't know, you call her, because everybody kind of has, she knows a lot of people and she knows other people who know a lot of people, right?
I've already had several phone calls and made
That's what I do a lot too. I mean,
what's happening.
our food buyer at UNI calls me up and say, Kamyar, I need, what about this or that? I need little baby squash, flowers, whatever it is. And I said, well, let me call around. Or somebody was looking for black beans. And we called around, found farmers who were raising black beans. And so it's just, that's something that in time, in gatherings like this, when you have a dinner at the end of the year or something, That's where, in our case, where restaurant owners have met farmers who raised exactly what they wanted. There was a variety of onions that this particular restaurant wanted, and said, well, who's going to raise that for me? And they did. So it's really great.
Do you get involved in organizing local food meals for events and functions and that sort of thing?
We haven't, but some caterers offer that. So should I just pull one?
Let's do the drawing, and then we'll take any more questions, and then you can sign up, join the campaign, give us some money, whatever. Oh, and also, one more thing. If you didn't sign in and give Susan your... Please be sure and do that before you leave, so we know that you were here and we can contact you. This says Lucy Ismert. All right, Lucy.
Farm out.
Lucy's our new tourism promoter for Fairfield. We're really glad to have her.
Okay.
That is donated by Lois DeVico from Batavia Gardens. Thank you, Lois. And now we have Ernie Hinkle. Some apple butter from Lois's place. Come here, young man. And Ernie sells at the farmer's market. He's our elder at the market. And then we have a pot made by Joy James with some oregano in it, and this says Linda Trice? What is it? Come on up, Linda.
That's a great idea.
Linda's here from South English. Thanks for coming. And then we have a Wren House gourd from Diana Fern. Marie Helene Turin. This fits you. And Marie Helene has just opened a French restaurant here in town, and she really promotes local food. And Kiss KRKN donated a CD. Gerald Freigenberger. Did I fix it? Freigenberger? Freigenberger. Where are you from?
Thank you. Hoyland.
Thanks for coming. And we have a Buy Fresh, Buy Local shirt donated by Fairfield Buy Fresh, Buy Local. And that's Dave Weber.
All right.
Is he still here? You have to be here to win. Dave's been an organic farmer for how many years, Dave? Come on. 25 or more. This is a large, but they have other sizes there if you need it. Thank you. And last but not least, donated from Radiance Dairy, some of their premium products, Dale Munson. And Dale is a local consumer that really appreciates local food.
I'm an eater, not a
He's an eater. He's an eater. So any more questions? Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, so please go back there and interact, and you can get more food, and we really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. This is great.
Is it up? Should I? I have one more announcement. Thank God I can whistle. One more announcement. My email